Welcome back to the channel Rare Coins History, where pocket change becomes pure excitement. Today, we're taking a closer look at one of the most commonly seen coins in American history, but one that hides more secrets, surprises, and value than you might ever imagine. We're talking about the 1964 Jefferson nickel. Now before you say, "I see those all the time, they're everywhere," let me stop you right there. Because what looks like just another 5-cent coin might actually be the key to unlocking a major payday. That's right, this nickel could be worth more than you ever thought possible. And today, we're going to uncover the mystery, the beauty, and the real potential behind the 1964 Jefferson nickel. So grab your coin jar, sit back, and let's dive deep into the world of nickels, mint marks, and million-dollar mistakes. Because you might be holding a piece of American history that could change your life. Let's roll the clock back to 1964. The United States was in the middle of a major cultural shift. The Beatles had just invaded America's music scene. Martin Luther King Jr. had received the Nobel Peace Prize. The Civil Rights Act had been signed. And across the nation, people were adjusting to the rapidly changing face of the country. Amid all this transformation, one little coin continued to pass from hand to hand, quiet and unnoticed: the Jefferson nickel. This coin had been in production since 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel, and featured a design honoring the third U.S. president, Thomas Jefferson. On the obverse, or front, you'll find Jefferson's left-facing profile, an iconic image sculpted by artist Felix Schlag. Around his portrait are the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the year, 1964. Simple, clean, and presidential. But what many people don't realize is that the back of the coin is equally important. Flip the coin over and you'll see Jefferson's famous Virginia estate, Monticello, centered above the words, 5 cents, and United States of America. Above Monticello are the words, E pluribus unum, the Latin phrase meaning, out of many, one. The design has remained largely unchanged for decades, which is part of what makes identifying rare variants and errors so exciting, because even small changes or anomalies can mean big value. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. 1964 was a massive year for the U.S. Mint. The country was dealing with a nationwide coin shortage, particularly of silver coins. To meet demand, the U.S. Mint cranked up production to unprecedented levels. In fact, over 2.8 billion nickels were struck that year across two mint facilities, Philadelphia and Denver. Philadelphia minted nickels had no mint mark, while Denver minted ones carried a small D on the reverse side to the right of Monticello. So with billions of coins produced, you might be asking, how can any 1964 nickel be rare? Here's the twist. Most people overlook the 1964 Jefferson nickel because of how common it seems. But in the world of numismatics, coin collecting, common coins can become incredibly valuable when the right conditions are met. And 1964 nickels? Oh, they come with a variety of opportunities for hidden treasure. Let's talk condition first. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70. A score of 60 or higher means the coin is uncirculated, no scratches, no signs of wear, and possibly even some original mint luster. Now, finding a 1964 nickel in mint condition is no easy task. These coins were made for circulation, and the vast majority have seen years, even decades, of use, but occasionally, a coin slips through the cracks. Sometimes, collectors stored them away. Sometimes banks rolled and shelved them. And in rare cases, coins remained untouched in original bags, never entering public hands. These nickels, in pristine mint state, are incredibly rare, and very valuable, but there's more than just condition at play. The real excitement comes when you look for errors and varieties, and 1964 is one of the most notorious years for error nickels. Some of the most desirable include double-die obverse nickels, where Jefferson's face and the date appear doubled under magnification. There are also repunched mint marks, those tiny D mint marks that were sometimes punched more than once into the die, resulting in ghost-like shadows or doubling effects. Another favorite among collectors is the full steps variety. What are full steps? Look closely at Monticello on the reverse side. At the base, you'll see a staircase. Most nickels are weakly struck in that area, meaning the steps appear blurry or incomplete. But if your 1964 nickel has 5 or 6 fully defined, uninterrupted steps, it could be worth much more than face value. In fact, nickels with full steps in high mint state are among the rarest and most sought after by serious collectors, and it doesn't stop there. There are known examples of off-center strikes, where the design is shifted or missing part of the rim. Others have die cracks, cuds, and lamination errors, where parts of the coin flake or peel due to metal flaws. These minting mistakes, while accidental, are exactly what turn an ordinary coin into an extraordinary find. Imagine this: a regular-looking nickel in your change turns out to be an error variety that no one has noticed in 50 years. That's not just cool, it's valuable. Now let's say you found a 1964 Jefferson nickel. What should you do? First, examine the coin carefully. Look for a mint mark, then check the condition. Is it worn, or does it still shine like new? Look closely at Monticello. Can you see all the steps clearly? Any doubling in the text or numbers? Any strange shapes, cracks, or surface issues? If anything looks unusual, or if the coin appears uncirculated, your next step is getting it graded. Professional grading services like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company, can examine your coin, assign it a grade, verify authenticity, and place it in a sealed holder that protects its value. Not only does this increase your coin's credibility, it also allows you to sell it confidently at auctions or to high-level collectors. Now here's a little secret: some of the most valuable coins in the world aren't rare because of how few were made, but because of how few were saved in mint condition or with unique features. The 1964 nickel is the perfect example. This is a coin that most people overlook. It's still found in pocket change. It seems common. But within that ocean of ordinary nickels are a few rare pearls, coins struck with precision, preserved by chance, or born with a 1 in a million error. And some of those nickels? Well, let's just say they're worth far more than 5 cents. So, how much can a 1964 Jefferson nickel be worth? Here it is, the moment you've been waiting for. One particular 1964 Jefferson nickel, struck with a rare full steps variety, preserved in exceptional mint state condition, and bearing a highly sought-after error, was once valued at an astonishing $180,000. Yes, one small nickel. 5 cents. Sold for $180,000. Today, we're unlocking the secrets of the United States of America Jefferson nickel, the 5-cent piece, from the year 1975. Yes, that's right. The simple, everyday nickel that's been quietly jingling in drawers, coin jars, and cash registers for decades may actually be one of the most overlooked collectibles in American numismatic history. So grab a seat and lean in close, because by the time we're done, you might just be reaching for your old piggy bank with a new level of excitement. Let's set the scene. It's 1975. America is at a cultural crossroads. The Vietnam War is finally coming to an end. Jaws is terrorizing moviegoers across the country. Mood rings, lava lamps, and bell-bottom jeans are all the rage. And in the world of politics, President Gerald Ford is guiding the nation forward after the shock of Watergate. Inflation is rising. Gas lines are long. And economic uncertainty is in the air. But amidst all of this change, there's one thing that remains steady: the production of U.S. coins. Specifically, the Jefferson nickel, which has been in circulation since 1938. It's a coin that millions of Americans have used every single day. But the 1975 version? That's the one that holds a story you won't believe. Let's talk about the design first. The obverse, or the front, of the 1975 Jefferson nickel features a proud left-facing profile of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States and author of the Declaration of Independence. The designer, Felix Schlag, immortalized Jefferson's image on the coin in a way that's elegant, minimal, and iconic. Around the portrait are the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the year, 1975. Turn the coin over, and you're greeted with the image of Monticello, Jefferson's famous Virginia estate. It's centered just above the denomination, 5 cents, and beneath the words, United States of America. The Latin motto, E pluribus unum, meaning, out of many, one, arches above Monticello, completing a design that has stood the test of time. Now let's talk about mint marks, those tiny letters that can make a big difference. In 1975, Jefferson nickels were struck at two mint facilities, Philadelphia and Denver. Coins from the Denver Mint carry a small D on the reverse side, to the right of Monticello. Coins from Philadelphia, in those days, had no mint mark at all. There were no nickels minted in San Francisco for circulation in 1975, though some proof coins were produced, but what turns an ordinary nickel from 1975 into something truly special? That's where things get exciting. First, let's talk numbers. Over 450 million Jefferson nickels were minted in 1975. So yes, the coin itself is not rare in terms of quantity. But here's the catch: it's not about how many were made, it's about how many have survived in exceptional condition, or were struck with a unique, rare, or valuable error. Now, before we get into those rare coins, let's touch on grading, because condition is everything when it comes to value. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70. A coin that's heavily worn might score a 10 or 20. But a coin that looks like it just left the mint, with its original shine, sharp details, and no wear, that's mint state. And mint state coins can score 60 and up. Coins graded MS 65 or higher are considered investment quality, especially if they feature something extra, like full steps. What are full steps, you ask? Take a look at Monticello on the back of your Jefferson nickel. The steps leading up to the entrance should appear sharp and distinct. If you can count 5 or 6 clear steps with no interruptions or weak spots, you've found what collectors call a full steps nickel. These are highly sought after, especially in coins from the 1970s, when the quality of strikes wasn't always consistent. A 1975 Jefferson nickel with full steps in high mint state condition? That's a keeper. But even better, it could be a jackpot. Let's now talk about errors and varieties, because this is where things get wild. In 1975, the mint was working overtime. Demand for coins was high. Mistakes were made. And those mistakes? That's music to a coin collector's ears. One of the most fascinating errors you can find is the double die. This happens when the coin is struck twice, but just slightly off. The result is visible doubling in letters or numbers. A 1975 Jefferson nickel with a double die obverse, where the date or Jefferson's features are doubled, is extremely rare and extremely valuable. Another major type of error is the off-center strike, where the coin wasn't properly aligned when struck. This results in part of the design being off the edge, and part of the coin being blank. The more dramatic the shift, the higher the value, especially if the date is still visible. Then there's the repunched mint mark, or RPM. In those days, mint marks were still added by hand in many cases. Sometimes, they were accidentally punched twice, leading to a ghost-like double D, or a slightly shifted letter. These tiny details drive collectors crazy, in the best way. Other errors include die cracks, cuds, lamination errors, and clipped planchets, where the coin is missing a small piece along the edge. Each of these errors turns a normal coin into something unique, and potentially very profitable. So now you're probably wondering, how do I know if my 1975 nickel is worth anything? Step 1, look for the mint mark. If it has a D, it came from Denver. No mint mark means Philadelphia. Step 2, examine the condition. If the coin is shiny, crisp, and shows no wear under magnification, you might have a mint state example. Step 3, flip it over and check Monticello. Can you clearly see all the steps? If yes, you may have a full steps nickel, and that's good news. Step 4, use a magnifier to look for doubling, unusual shapes, missing elements, or strange textures. These could indicate mint errors or unique varieties, and if you think your coin is special, the smartest move is to get it graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. They'll certify its condition, check for known varieties, and seal it in a tamper-proof holder that proves its authenticity. A graded coin is far more valuable, and far more trusted, in the collector's market. So why does this all matter? Because most people walk past coins without a second glance. They overlook the hidden gems, the forgotten pieces of history, and the accidental masterpieces that are right in front of them, but not you. You're one of the few who sees the potential in what others ignore. You're the one who checks their change, flips their nickels, and studies those little mint marks, because you know that just one small detail can make all the difference. And now, it's time for the moment you've been waiting for. One rare 1975 Jefferson nickel, with a mint error, full steps, and preserved in top-tier mint state condition, once stunned the coin collecting world when it was valued at an astonishing $130,000. Yes, you heard that right. One nickel, worth $130,000. Today's video might just change the way you look at money forever, because today, we're going deep into the story of the 1987 Jefferson nickel. That's right, the 5-cent coin you've probably seen thousands of times might just be one of the most overlooked collectibles in American coinage. But there's something special about the 1987 edition, something most people miss, and by the time you finish watching this video, you may just want to raid every coin jar in your house. Let's go back in time to 1987. Ronald Reagan was in his final years as President of the United States. The Cold War was still on everyone's mind. The Berlin Wall still stood. Dirty Dancing was lighting up movie theaters, Michael Jackson ruled the radio, and personal computers were starting to make their way into homes across America. It was the tail end of a big, bold, and booming decade. While all of that was happening, the U.S. Mint quietly continued producing everyday currency, including one coin that would pass through millions of hands, the Jefferson nickel. Now, the Jefferson nickel wasn't new in 1987. It had already been in circulation for nearly 50 years. Introduced in 1938, the coin replaced the beloved Buffalo nickel, and has since become one of the most recognized coins in the world. The obverse of the coin, that's the front, features a left-facing portrait of America's third president, Thomas Jefferson. The design was created by German-American sculptor Felix Schlag. Simple, yet dignified, the portrait is accompanied by the words, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the year, in this case, 1987. Flip the coin over and you're looking at a stylized image of Monticello, Jefferson's beautiful home in Virginia. The reverse side also includes the words, E pluribus unum, United States of America, and the denomination, 5 cents. At first glance, it seems like just another coin. Just another nickel. But take a closer look, and the story gets a whole lot more interesting. Let's talk about mint marks. In 1987, Jefferson nickels were produced in two main mints for circulation, Philadelphia and Denver. If your coin was made in Philadelphia, it'll have a tiny P mint mark just to the right of Monticello on the reverse. If it was made in Denver, you'll see a small D in the same place. The San Francisco Mint also produced proof coins in 1987, but those were never meant for everyday use. They were struck for collectors and packaged in proof sets. You'll know a proof coin by its mirror-like shine and ultra-sharp detail. Now, here's where things start getting exciting. Over 680 million Jefferson nickels were minted in 1987 between Philadelphia and Denver. That's a huge number. So how could a coin from that year be worth anything more than face value? Well, it turns out that in the world of numismatics, the study and collection of coins, it's not just about how many were made. It's about how many survived, in exceptional condition, or with remarkable minting errors, or as part of rare varieties. Let's break it down. First up, condition. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70. The higher the number, the better the condition. Anything above 60 is considered mint state, meaning it has never been used in circulation. A coin that's been sitting untouched for decades, never handled, never dropped into a soda machine, could be worth significantly more than its face value, and even more desirable. Coins with full steps. Let's zoom in on Monticello. At the base of the building, there's a set of stairs leading up to the entrance. On most coins, these steps are worn down, blurred, or incomplete. But in a perfect strike, you can count 5 or 6 clearly defined steps. These are called full steps nickels, and they are highly collectible. Finding a 1987 Jefferson nickel with full steps, in mint state condition, is rare. And when it happens, collectors take notice. Now let's talk about something even juicier, mint errors. Minting errors are the golden tickets of the coin world. They're the rare slip-ups, the accidents, the one-in-a-million oddities that sneak past quality control and land in someone's change. In 1987, a number of unique errors have been discovered on Jefferson nickels. Some of the most valuable include double die obverse or reverse. This happens when the coin is struck twice, causing the letters or features to appear doubled. Look closely at Jefferson's face or the date. If things look a bit shadowed or blurry, it could be a double die. Off-center strikes. Sometimes, the coin blank isn't properly aligned when struck, resulting in a coin that's partially blank. The more dramatic the off-center error, especially if the date is still visible, the higher the value. Repunched mint marks, RPM. In earlier minting processes, mint marks were applied manually. Occasionally, a mark would be punched more than once in slightly different positions, leading to a shadowed or doubled effect. These are small errors, but incredibly sought after. Die cracks and cuds. These occur when parts of the die, the tool used to strike the coin, crack or break, causing raised lines or blobs on the coin. They might look like scars, bubbles, or unusual shapes on Jefferson's face or Monticello. All of these errors transform an ordinary 1987 nickel into a coin that collectors would fight to own. But wait, there's more. The real magic happens when one of these errors is combined with an uncirculated, mint state grade, and full steps. These triple threat nickels are extremely rare, and often the most valuable. So let's say you're holding a 1987 Jefferson nickel. What should you look for? Step 1. Check the mint mark. Is there a P or a D? Or is it a proof S? Step 2. Examine the condition. Is the coin shiny, scratch-free, with original luster? That's a good sign. Step 3. Flip it over and zoom in on the steps. Can you count all 5 or 6 steps at the base of Monticello? If yes, you might be looking at a full steps nickel. Step 4. Under magnification, inspect for any signs of doubling, strange bumps, missing elements, or shifted alignment. If you spot anything unusual, and the coin looks pristine, it's time to get it authenticated. Professional grading companies like PCGS or NGC can evaluate your coin, grade it, and encapsulate it in a tamper-proof slab with a certificate of authenticity. This not only protects your coin, it boosts its value on the market. Collectors are far more willing to pay premium prices for coins that are professionally certified. Now, here's where it all comes together. Most people walk by nickels every day. They pile them up in cups, forget about them in drawers, or drop them in tip jars. But every so often, one of those coins is different. One has history. One has beauty. One has an error that slipped through the cracks of the US Mint, and straight into your hand. And believe it or not, one such 1987 Jefferson nickel, with a rare minting flaw, full steps, and preserved in near-perfect condition, once stunned the coin collecting world by being valued at a jaw-dropping total of $190,000. Yes, a nickel. Just 5 cents. Valued at $190,000. Today's episode may just change how you see the most ordinary coin in your wallet, because today, we're zooming in on a 5-cent piece that most people would never give a second look, the 1994 Jefferson nickel from the United States of America. It's small, it's familiar, and it's everywhere. But what if I told you that this humble nickel, if it has the right features and conditions, could be one of the most valuable finds in modern pocket change? Stick with me, because we're going to explore how a simple 5-cent coin minted in 1994 could hold secrets, stories, and value that might leave you speechless. Let's begin by setting the scene. The year is 1994. Bill Clinton is in his second year as president. The internet is just starting to reach American households. Forrest Gump hits the big screen, and millions of people are discovering AOL, pagers, and CDs. It's a time of transition, from analog to digital, from old to new. And while the world was racing into the future, the US Mint continued its time-honored tradition of producing coins for everyday use. One of the coins that rolled off the presses that year? The Jefferson nickel. Now, the Jefferson nickel has been a staple in American currency since 1938. It replaced the Buffalo nickel, and for over half a century, it remained nearly unchanged. The design was created by artist Felix Schlag and has become an American icon. On the front of the 1994 nickel, we find a stately portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States and the man who penned the Declaration of Independence. His profile is calm, proud, and timeless. Surrounding his image are the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and, of course, the date, 1994. But it's the reverse side that holds just as much beauty, and just as much mystery. There we see Monticello, Jefferson's beloved estate in Virginia. The image is detailed and symmetrical, with the words "E pluribus unum" above, and "United States of America" and 5 cents below. It's clean. It's historic. And it holds clues that collectors look for every day. But what makes the 1994 Jefferson nickel stand out? Let's first talk about mint marks. That small letter near Monticello tells us where the coin was produced. In 1994, the U.S. Mint produced Jefferson nickels at 3 locations: Philadelphia, marked with a P; Denver, marked with a D; San Francisco, marked with an S. These are usually proof coins, struck with extra care for collectors, so already, we have 3 different mint variations of the same coin. That's important, because the mint mark plays a huge role in determining rarity, production numbers, and potential value. Philadelphia and Denver struck hundreds of millions of these coins, for daily use. But San Francisco's proof coins were made in smaller quantities and are typically shinier, more detailed, and come in special sets. While proofs are not rare in general, finding one with a minting error, or in perfect condition, is a whole different story. Now, let's get into what collectors really want: condition and rarity. You see, not all coins are created equal. Even if 2 nickels come from the same mint, same year, and same design, their value can vary dramatically depending on grade. Coins are graded on a 70-point scale. A coin graded 1 is heavily worn, barely identifiable. But a coin graded MS 70, mint state 70, is flawless under 5x magnification. Most coins you find in circulation? They're nowhere near that. They've been dropped, rubbed, stacked, and spent. But occasionally, just occasionally, a coin escapes all of that. Maybe it was never released into circulation. Maybe it was pulled aside by a collector decades ago. And when that happens, and the coin is still in perfect mint condition, its value can skyrocket. Now let's talk about a special detail that often determines a Jefferson nickel's desirability: full step stud. If you look closely at the image of Monticello on the back of the nickel, you'll notice a series of steps leading up to the building. On most nickels, these steps are worn down or poorly struck. But on some coins, the exceptionally struck ones, the steps are crisp, unbroken, and fully visible. These are called full steps nickels, and collectors are always on the hunt for them. A 1994 Jefferson nickel with full steps and no signs of wear? That's rare. That's valuable. That's exciting. But what about errors? This is where things get really juicy. Even with today's advanced minting technology, errors still happen. And in 1994, a number of fascinating mistakes slipped through the cracks and into the hands of lucky coin collectors. Here are just a few of the valuable errors known to exist on 1994 Jefferson nickels: double die obverse or reverse. This happens when the coin is struck twice with a slightly misaligned die. The result? Doubling in the text or image. Look at Liberty, the date, or Monticello for signs of ghosting or repeated impressions. Off-center strike. If the coin blank wasn't centered correctly during minting, part of the design will be missing, and part of the coin will be blank. The further off-center, the rarer it is. Repunched mint mark, RPM. In some cases, the mint mark was punched more than once in slightly different spots. This can create a ghosted or doubled mint mark, highly desirable to collectors. Die breaks or cuds. When a portion of the die breaks off, it can leave raised, blob-like marks on the coin. These are called cuds, and every one is unique. Now imagine this: what if you had a 1994 Jefferson nickel with full steps, a repunched mint mark, and a flawless, uncirculated condition? That would be like hitting the coin collecting jackpot. So how can you check your own coins? Start with these steps. Look for the mint mark. Where was your coin made? Denver? Philly? San Francisco? Check the condition. Does it still shine? Are there any scratches or worn areas? Or is it crisp and sharp? Inspect Monticello. Can you see all the steps? Are they complete and defined? Use a magnifier to look for doubling, unusual marks, or misaligned features, and if your coin looks promising? Your next move is grading. Professional services like PCGS or NGC will examine your coin, determine its grade, and seal it in a protective holder. Once certified, your coin becomes much more valuable, especially when dealing with serious buyers or auction houses. It's truly incredible to think about. A nickel. Just 5 cents. Something you might have dropped on the floor or ignored in your change tray. But when it's the right year, the right mint, the right condition, with maybe even a little error magic thrown in, it could become a life-changing find. And now, the moment you've been waiting for, there is one 1994 Jefferson nickel, with full steps, a remarkable mint error, and preserved in pristine mint state condition, that stunned collectors and experts when it was valued at an unbelievable $100,000. Yes, you heard that right. One little coin, worth $100,000. Today, we're taking a journey, not just into the past, but into a world where everyday objects tell extraordinary stories. We're diving deep into a coin that might just be sitting quietly in someone's drawer, but which could actually be one of the most valuable nickels in the world. Get ready to discover the secrets of the 1943 Jefferson nickel, a 5-cent coin from the United States of America that holds not just metal value, but mystery, rarity, and potential riches far beyond what meets the eye. Now, before we get to the exciting part, the potential value of this coin, let's first step into a very different world. The year 1943. America was in the heart of World War II. The entire nation was mobilized, not just its military, but its factories, citizens, and even its currency. Resources were precious. Every ounce of metal, every drop of oil, and every strip of rubber was redirected toward the war effort. Rationing was real. Families saved everything they could, and the U.S. Mint had to get creative. This brings us to our coin of the day, the 1943 Jefferson nickel. While most Jefferson nickels throughout history were made of 75% copper and 25% nickel, the 1943 edition is different. Because nickel, the metal, was considered essential for making armor plating and weapons during the war, the U.S. Mint had to find an alternative. So from 1942 to 1945, the composition of the Jefferson nickel was changed. Instead of copper and nickel, the coin was made of a unique wartime alloy consisting of 56% copper, 35% silver, and 9% manganese. That's right, silver. The Jefferson nickels from these years are the only 5-cent pieces in U.S. history that contain actual silver. This makes them not only historically significant but also materially valuable. Let's start by looking at the design, simple, elegant, and rich in symbolism. On the obverse, the front side, is a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson, designed by sculptor Felix Schlag. Above him, the words, "In God We Trust," curve along the edge. To the right, Liberty, and the year, 1943. Turn the coin over and you'll see Monticello, Jefferson's famous Virginia estate, detailed and symmetrical. The words, E pluribus unum, appear above, with United States of America, and 5 cents below. But here's where things get interesting. Look above the dome of Monticello. If your coin has a large mint mark, either a P, D, or S, placed right above the building, you're holding one of the special wartime silver nickels. That large mint mark is a giveaway, and it only appears on nickels made from silver between 1942 and 1945. Why is that important? Because it marks the coin as part of a very short and rare production period, unlike any other in American minting history. In 1943, these coins were minted at all 3 major mints: Philadelphia, marked with a large P; Denver, marked with a large D; San Francisco, marked with a large snow. Let's talk about rarity and collector appeal. Even though millions of 1943 Jefferson nickels were minted, time has taken its toll. Many have been worn down, scratched, or damaged through decades of circulation. What collectors crave today are examples in high-grade condition, especially those with strong detail, clean surfaces, and full features. Let's talk about grading, because condition plays a major role in determining value. coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70. Anything above 60 is considered mint state, meaning it shows no signs of circulation. A 1943 nickel graded MS 65, MS 66, or even MS 67 is a prize to behold. And when it features sharp details on Monticello's steps, things really start to heat up. You see, the reverse side of the Jefferson nickel has a subtle but important detail: the stairs leading up to Monticello. Most nickels show wear here, even if the rest of the coin looks great. But when a coin is perfectly struck, you can count all 5 or 6 full steps. That's what collectors call a full steps Jefferson nickel. And in the world of numismatics, full steps can mean full value. So what makes the 1943 Jefferson nickel so sought after? Well, for one, its wartime silver composition makes it unique. Second, its large mint mark makes it easily identifiable. Third, its age means that finding one in pristine condition is becoming harder and harder each year. And finally, it's the errors, those beautiful, accidental quirks, that can make certain 1,943 nickels worth thousands of times their face value. Let's go over a few of the rare mint errors collectors look for on 1943 Jefferson nickels. Double die obverse or reverse, one of the most famous types of mint errors. This occurs when the coin is struck twice with a slight shift, resulting in doubled letters or numbers, most commonly visible in God We Trust, or the date, 1943. Off-center strikes. If the blank planchet wasn't centered correctly during the strike, part of the design is off the edge, and part is blank. These errors are rare and can be worth a small fortune, especially if the date is still visible. Clipped planchets. This happens when the coin blank was punched out of the metal sheet in the wrong spot, leaving part of the coin missing, a small crescent or straight edge. Die breaks and cuds. These flaws in the die can result in extra metal appearing on the coin, raised lumps or missing parts of the design. Repunched mint marks. RPM. These occur when the mint mark was punched more than once, slightly off position each time. It creates a shadowed or doubled mint mark, something collectors love. The combination of any of these errors plus a high-grade, silver 1943 nickel? That's a powerful recipe for value. Now here's something few people realize. During the war, many people were encouraged to turn in silver and nickel coins to help fund the war effort. Some of the 1943 nickels may have been melted down or lost forever. As a result, pristine examples became rarer over time, especially those with mint errors or high grades certified by professional coin grading services like PCGS or NGC. So what should you do if you think you have a valuable 1943 Jefferson nickel? Step 1. Look above Monticello. Is there a large mint mark? If yes, it's one of the wartime silver nickels. Step 2. Check the condition. Is the coin shiny, unworn, and crisp? Look at Jefferson's cheekbone, Monticello's roof, and the stairs. Step 3. Use a magnifier to check for doubling, repunched marks, or unusual features. Step 4. Consider professional grading. A coin in average circulated condition might be worth a few dollars. But a coin that is graded mint state 65 or higher, especially with full steps or mint errors, is a whole different story. And now, the moment we've all been waiting for. Among the rarest finds of all is a 1943 Jefferson nickel with full steps, struck in silver, preserved in stunning mint state condition, and featuring a rare double die mint error. One of these remarkable coins has been valued at an astonishing total of $94,000. That's right, one 5-cent coin, worth $94,000. It's incredible to think that something so small could carry so much history, mystery, and hidden value. So the next time you're sorting through spare change or flipping through an old coin collection, keep your eyes open. Because one of these little silver beauties could be waiting, and you might be holding a piece of American history worth far more than anyone around you realizes.